Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dr. Chad Kuhns. We're back with a daily prime and just wanted to go over kind of a case study. What should I do when I've tweaked my back when working out? So funny story, this actually happened to me really for the second time in my life, both happening after I turned 30, by the way, a few days ago. So I can actually really speak from it from a personal perspective and kind of more of an empathetic perspective. So I was going through deadlifts. I was actually on the Smith machine. That's a whole other topic. Should you even be doing deadlifts on the Smith machine? But anyways, I realized that when I was doing it, the barbell got a little bit too far away from me. I knew it exactly when it happened. My back wasn't right in the correct position, and I tweaked my back and it kind of gave out. And there was a decent amount of pain that came in my lower left side. Now, most people, we start to wonder, did I blow a disc? Did I herniate a disc? We start to catastrophize. We start to get really fearful. It's just in us. It's just in our emotional being. Like, oh crap, did I really do something bad? And we start ruminating on it. And even myself, who understands all this, because I'm a human, my emotional center, my amygdala, took over. And I could feel it. I did some deep breathing. I knew it'd be okay. I knew it'd survive. I knew I could handle it at that point in time. Because of my professional experience, I knew that more times than not, there tends to be a pretty good component myofascially that's actually creating our pain. So I took my hand and kind of felt the spot and kind of rub it around, and I knew it was very sore and tender. But it actually took a few minutes just to do some gentle rubbing around in the area that was most tender. I kept walking, get some water. I did some deep breaths, and I knew that there were some exercises that I wasn't going to be able to keep doing. Okay, that's the other thing. Some people, it's like, do we just go home? Do I give it up? I knew for me, I was actually going to be better off if I attempted to keep working out the best I could, staying active, getting blood flow into there, getting stability in the low back where it's usually inherently unstable. I modified some exercises so that I was seated in a position that was actually more comfortable for me. This is where you have to figure out, if you tweaked your back, whatever position was most comfortable, you have to kind of listen to that. I knew I couldn't get down into like a squat or deadlift position because I just heard it from there. So I modified it. I kept the weights really light. I found some, like I said, seated machines where I could just engage the back because it was a back day for me. And I was able to finish a workout. I strongly believe, if possible, if it's not too severe, to continue to stay active, keep walking, get a lot of water, keep doing deep breaths. The pain's going to be there knocking on your door. Try to not catastrophize on it. Try to just be in the moment and finish and keep getting a good workout. When you get home, now I knew for me personally, if I would have iced and laid down, that would have been a nightmare. Now ice is good for inflammation, and typically after acute injuries it is a good thing. But for me personally, and I would even argue professionally, with back injuries, right away I would not do ice because I know it stiffened me up and it was already kind of getting stiff. So from there, I did not ice. I stayed active at night. I did take a lot of anti-inflammatories. Now I took around 800 milligrams to almost a gram that night. Most people right off there tend to not want to take anti-inflammatories. They've heard that it's really bad for the stomach, and some of this is true. But it's also made for a reason. When you have that initial injury and you tweak your back, there's going to be a cascade of inflammation. You need to combat that with anti-inflammatories. I really strongly believe that. If you've got peptic ulcers or whatever else, if you're allergic to it, of course don't take it. But for a large majority of you, it's actually a really good thing to take. And you can actually take up to 3 grams of this stuff per day for 3 months without it really starting to tear into your peptic ulcers. That's what a registered pharmacist has told me. So I felt okay with taking a large amount that night. I took a large amount the next morning as well as the next following evening. That, in combination with continuing to try to stay active, trying to do some myofascial release. If you can get someone to get their hands on you, it could even be a friend or a family member to try to just do some hands-on work in there. Of course, an expert may be a better bet. And continue, like I said, I can't put enough emphasis on trying to stay active, try to keep moving. Because if you really give into this thing and sit for long periods of time and ice it and let that mind eat you up, it'll tear you up, and I can almost guarantee it'll get much stiffer. For those of you that think maybe I need to go get an MRI, see if I blew a disc, hold off on it the best you can. In fact, most back injuries within the first 2 weeks, 90% of you will recover. So at least give it 2 weeks. At least give it around 2 weeks and up to about a month. If you feel no change and it's continuing to be really bad for a full month, that's when an MRI might be prudent. But if it were me, I would at least want to go see a movement expert first so that I could learn what the heck the root cause of the problem was. Now, I had the luxury of kind of knowing what I did wrong. It was somewhat carelessness and I got busy, so that's on me. But if you don't know what caused it, that's where you need to figure out with a movement expert what exactly it was that you did wrong. So in my case, if I didn't know, I'd go talk to him and told him I was, to him or her, I was doing a deadlift on a Smith machine. We could have that debate. Why was I doing that anyways? But then, I could have told him, well, it felt like the bar was a little bit farther away from my body. I felt my back wasn't in the right position. My back kind of caved in, and that's when I had that tweaking out. Then we would have to go through the quality, readjust the movement, relearn how to do a deadlift correctly so that it doesn't happen again, or at least we can mitigate the chances. If you go right to an MRI and you skip all this, there's a very good chance it could happen again, and you might have learned that you might have what was an asymptomatic bulging disc that's now in your mind as the pain generator for your back, which has now made you fearful to keep working out, and there's a whole bad string of events. So guys, listen, you're bound to tweak your back at some point. The lifetime prevalence is very high. I mean, it's around 80 to 90% of us will at least at one point have had back pain. Even the yearly rates are very high. It's happened to me twice since 30. It'll probably happen a couple more times, whether it's carelessness or what have you. It's kind of the nature of the beast. But we have to try to mitigate it, mitigate how long it affects us as long as possible, and then get back in there and keep fighting. Because what are our other options? Sitting at home, drinking Mountain Dew, just, you got to keep fighting the fight. So anyways, for those of you that have tweaked your back when working out, maybe recently, or maybe you know of someone that has done this, just feel free to share it. These things happen, and let's just kind of keep learning how we can keep working out even when these things occur and just learn from them. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this longer daily Prime.